Mechanicus 2 is out now and a lot of people are having serious problems with it. After 8 years, we received a sequel to the beloved 40k game, and it is the problematic kind of a sequel. You know, the kind of sequel that at the same time is very close to the original experience, but also it drops some of the core design and replaces them with new systems instead. Ever heard of Darkest Dungeon? If you did, you know what I mean by saying that Mechanicus 2 is kind of like Darkest Dungeon 2. Close, but very different indeed. This unfortunately results in a Steam rating of mixed with only 58% positives, which for the successor of Mechanicus 1 is abysmal, let's be honest. My name is Fred, and the footage in the background is my very beginning of Mechanicus 2 campaign, the prologue and some early Necron missions, so there won't be any major spoilers in this video. Just please, treat it as background footage, since I want to release this video as soon as possible in order to possibly save some of you from buying the game if it won't be in your style. The first thing that I will have to touch upon in this video is the soundtrack. It is good. Just good. Good enough? I guess. It's solid, it has some bangers, but overall, I would say that it is not on the same level as the first game, which the development team must have thought so too, since they happily allow you to use the first game's soundtrack in this game, if you pay for it. €2.5 may not be much, but the fact that they are asking us to pay to integrate the first game's soundtrack into this one is kind of a red flag to me, to be honest. Then we have the graphics and the atmosphere, and they are fine, in my opinion. Nothing truly groundbreaking, but it is a solid upgrade when compared to the first game. It's nice, but it comes at a serious cost. A lot of the Steam reviews mention awful performance, and I have to agree. You see, my PC is fairly strong, very strong even, and in this game I'm getting 39 FPS on average when it is uncapped. And I'm sorry, this is kinda unacceptable for like a top-down tactical turn-based game. This PC could squeeze out twice as many frames from Borderlands 4, which already had bad performance reviews, and I think that we can all agree is way more graphically demanding. So yeah, if you don't want to risk awful performance, don't buy the game now if your system is not super strong. But if your system is strong enough, there's a proper game to enjoy. It is different from the first one, and you may or may not like that, but it is a proper game. So what's so different? The most impactful change to the gameplay is the fact that we are getting 5 named leaders per faction instead of random no-name priests. This has advantages and disadvantages. For starters, seeing a unique tech priest in the battlefield with their weird posture, equipment and everything is amazing. But the first game letting you paint on this blank canvas of a character by upgrading certain tech trees and equipping certain builds was way more open for experimentation. It is way easier to break because of this, but it is now an undeniable fact that the freedom of building your team has dropped in Mechanicus 2. Now your leaders get options of upgrading them, Adeptus Mechanicus getting a system kinda like the tech trees, but specific to each character, while Necrons focused on relics that you unlock and equip, each giving you special effects and possibly having some fun combos with others. The system is not bad at all in my eyes, but the fact is that you are barely able to toy with your leader's weapon systems when compared to the first Mechanicus. As a good compromise, I personally would have preferred for the Adeptus Mechanicus campaign to be closer in how it works to the first game, giving you way more flexibility and freedom and the potential to do some nasty combos, and I would still enjoy the Necron experience in this game as an alternative, kinda more streamlined and kinda more balanced, you know? Another problem that happens with Mechanicus 2 is the thing that I call the power funnel. When going on a mission, you are bringing only one leader instead of all 5 of them, changing up the dynamic of the team substantially. Each leader has his own squad designed to fit a certain playstyle, some being more defensive, some being more aggressive, some focusing on combos and all that. But still, you get one leader per mission and your minions cannot really replicate a tech priest from the first game when we look at how differently we can build and play with our army. The worst part is that when you finish a mission, the leader that you played gets the experience that can be used for the upgrades to the leader and its cohort, and it's not shared at all, which leads to the power funnel that I mentioned. You will be more likely to bring one character over and over again once you pick your favorite, since there is no point in making the game harder for yourself by bringing a low-level army to a mission, especially when you play on harder difficulties. There seems to be no reward for going wide and leveling up all your leaders and cohorts equally to have like a proper diversity of playstyles and experiences. So that's kinda bad in my opinion. This is way different experience to the first game where you earned Blackstone and got to spend it on whoever you wanted and however you wanted. You could have a balanced team of tech priests, or you could just upgrade the hell out of some and keep others as your supports, but over time you slowly got everyone upgraded because you still had to bring all of them to missions and there was really no point in leaving someone behind in upgrades just for fun. Now, you are way less inclined to go wide, and that can be a problem for some people, especially if you enjoyed building mega crazy combos in the first game. Crazy combos are another thing that I wanted to mention, since there seem to not be many of these. The game really wants to be more balanced and overall a bigger challenge than the first one, where eventually the cognition system broke and you got overpowered as hell, turning even the hardest difficulty into a 3+ years puzzle. If you really like the initial difficulty of Mechanicus 1, where your options were kinda limited and you had to carefully balance your encounters in one way or another, this game is more in your style it seems. If you preferred the power spike moment in Mechanicus 1, where your team started blasting the whole map in a single turn by doing some mad combos, kinda like Argenta in Rogue Trader, this game may not be for you. It is toned down in power level, and the developers seem to have learned from the first game and made the game more balanced and challenging. That, or we just have not figured out how to break it properly. We will see. One thing that people complain about is the tomb exploration mechanic in Mechanicus 2. Well, they complain because there is no tomb exploration mechanic in Mechanicus 2, not in the same way as the first game. Exploring the map is now linear, and alongside your journey you get events with choices. So far in my experience, they seem to have some sort of consequence that you can kinda feel, but it is not a run ender or a run winner in any sort of way. Which is good. It allows you to accept the consequences of your decisions and just carry on. Some people mentioned that they missed the option to either engage with less or more rooms in each mission, and the idea of risking more awakening matters for better rewards. I personally don't care for it much, and I think that a proper linear campaign with good variety of choices and combat scenarios that actually make me scratch my head before solving them is a solid experience in my book. The awakening mechanic is gone in Mechanicus 2. There is no meter going up between missions, and the only thing that changes during the mission is the vigilance meter, which activates only at full 4 out of 4, increasing the number of the enemies in your next battle, even if you lower it before the said battle, so just make sure to not ever hit 4. It is a simplified system when compared to the first game, and I kinda miss the Necrons getting all sorts of buffs over time as your awakening meter raised, but hey, that's just me. It is unclear to me whether or not the Necrons and Adeptus Mechanicus use their mechanics properly when they are your enemies. Adeptus Mechanicus gathering cognition points in order to enable their skill sets more, and the Necrons getting stronger over time by dealing the damage to their enemies. That's the mechanics that I'm mentioning. If they are, that's great, and it kinda fits the awakening mechanic, since for example the Necron Scarabs get way more deadly on Dominion level 3, where they can explode on your face after attacking you, making them, well, one-shot machines. The problem is that it's not very clear whether anything like this works in the background, and there's no clear meter, to indicate how much of a certain resource is gathered by the enemy, or if it even is gathered at all. One thing that's problematic about the game, and its indicators too, is the character indicators. You don't see the movement and range of your enemies at all when the fight starts, which means that you either have to memorize them, note them down, or open the wiki, or you just have to roll with it kinda blindfolded, which I don't like at all. I would very much prefer the enemies to have concealed health, armor and even some upgrades instead of movement and range, especially when you are fighting the same enemy type over and over again. Like I said, it could be memorized, but I would very much prefer to be able to check this shit in-game without alt-tabbing to the wiki and putting me outside of the whole immersion. You get what I mean. One thing that also kinda sucks with how the game indicates things is the weapon range indicators for your units. You see, in the first game when you moved, you saw which weapons could attack from a certain position and which enemies they could target. In this game, you just get a range indicator that someone will be in the range of your character, but it does not tell you which weapon will be able to hit them. This resulted in me moving close to the enemy in order to shoot him, just to see that the only weapon that was in range of the enemy was the one that I could not use, because of me having 0 cognition points and it requiring 1 to use. As you can see, there are a lot of things going wrong with the 1.0 release of Mechanicus 2. Is it a bad game in itself? No, not at all. I would even say that if it was the first installment in the series, people would love it and they would praise it a lot. But it comes out as a second installment in the series and will have to be compared to the first Mechanicus. And it has some serious differences that some people may love, while others may hate. Just like Darkest Dungeon 1 and Darkest Dungeon 2. If you did not feel strongly negative about any of the points that I brought up in this video, give Mechanicus 2 a try. Maybe you will enjoy it. If you were thrown off by some of the design changes that I mentioned, maybe wait some time. Either for a sale or for the game to receive some updates over time to make it better. I would not expect any huge reworks to the systems though, it's not an early access game and it has a strong identity that it won't be willing to change if I had to guess. It just matters if you accept it and if you will enjoy it. That's all for this video. Thank you so much for listening. Please share your thoughts and concerns about the game in the comment section and I will see you in the next video. Praise the Omnissiah.